The Ten Commandments is the staggering epic directed by Cecil B. DeMille, and it begins as every giant blockbuster does, with the director giving a lecture on the Bible.
Philo wrote at the time that Jesus of Nazareth walked the earth, and Josephus wrote some 50 years later.
And Bocephus wrote, "Art thou ready for some football?" The story of Moses begins at literally the beginning of time. Man, no wonder this movie's so long. We wisely jump forward 4 billion years where the Pharaoh of Egypt, Ramses I, is told by his wizards that a Hebrew child has just been born and that child will rise up and free the slaves in Egypt. So Ramses declares that every newborn Hebrew male shall be put to death. Not gonna lie, bit of a dick move. And I'm guessing probably the biggest dick move we'll see this whole movie. Nothing's gonna top that. So Yoshebel puts her newborn son in a basket and sends him down the river.
We have not even given him a name.
God will give him a name.
God is awesome at names. I bet it'll be something like Stryker or Dirk or Kevin. The basket is discovered by Ramses' daughter Bithia, and Bithia's old servant Memnet recognizes that this child is the son of a Hebrew slave. But Bithia threatens Memnet to keep it a secret so Bithia can raise the child as the Prince of Egypt. Man, Moses hit the floating down a river jackpot. Last time I floated down a river was on the Tippecanoe River Liver Bash last year, and I drank too much and woke up tangled up in some brush in the middle of the night 30 miles from my car, sunburned and covered in mosquito bites. All in all, not my worst Wednesday night. We then flash forward 30 years because the Bible likes to omit gigantic chunks out of people's stories, and Moses has returned from conquering Ethiopia, and he presents the spoils of war before the Pharaoh Ramses and Moses' mother Bithia.
But I am Egypt.
Wait, is that not Moses' mom? Oh my god, that is a completely different character. Okay, so that is apparently Nefertiri, and is that not Ramses the First?
May my arms stay strong in your service, great Seti.
Nope. Okay. So apparently that is the new pharaoh, Seti I, who is Ramses I's son and brother of Bithia, and his children are Ramses II and Nefertiri. Nope. Okay, they are not brother and sister. You know what? I don't know. Maybe don't gloss over 3 decades worth of character development and I won't be so confused. Gotta sit here and play catch up. Not my job. So Moses is Seti's nephew, but Seti has adopted him as a son and potential heir to the throne of Egypt, and he tasks Moses with building him a treasure city. In Seti's treasure city, we meet the stonecutter Joshua, who is in love with Lilia.
Water before love, my girl.
Does it take the whole Nile to quench your thirst?
I am working in 110-degree desert heat, woman. I'm thirsty.
We must have hope.
On the heels of every hope walks Dathan.
Hey. Ah, this rope is hot. Oh gosh. Oh, I'm slipping. I'm slipping. Oh my gosh. Ooh, put something under me to catch me. Oh, I'm slipping. Lily, I'm slipping. Oh, please help me. And the slaves have a sadistic Hebrew overseer watching them, named Dathan, which is of course short for Dathaniel, and Ramses tasks Dathan with finding the hero that will free the slaves. Like, if this was me, I would be the guy in the middle just pretending to actually push. Like, prove I'm not, you slave-holding pieces of shit. Moses' birth mother, Yoshebel, gets her clothing caught under one of the stones, and she's about to be crushed because the overseers refuse to stop pushing. Alright, so what are we saying here? Like, definitely top 5 worst ways to die? Before she can be crushed, Joshua swoops in and buys her a few more seconds and is taken by the overseers. Lilia runs to Moses to beg for Joshua's life, and Moses cuts Yoshebel free.
They use the old ones to do the work of greasing the stones, Lord Prince. If they are killed, it is no loss.
That is just bad business all around. The older slaves can't do much, and it seems like greasing the stones is important. So if one of them dies, that means an able-bodied person will have to take their place. Plus, the monument will then smell like rotting flesh. We had a raccoon die on our walls one time, and that smell was horrendous. An old woman is like 20 raccoons.
The man has courage. You do not speak like a slave. God made men. Men made slaves.
Moses likes Joshua's spirit and tells the guards to let him go. Ramses arrives wondering what the holdup is, and Moses tells them that the slaves would work better if they all had a day off, and enough grain to eat.
Is there any grain stored here in Goshen?
None that you would dare take, my brother.
Temple granaries are full.
Hey, Josh, why don't you take it down a notch? You don't know these guys like I do, okay, bud? But Moses grants the slaves permission to raid the storage bins for grain. And, like typical boss's son, doesn't even know how anything works, comes in, tries to be the cool guy, doesn't even have a key to the break room and has to break down the door. Ramses then tells Seti that he feels Moses is trying to lead a slave rebellion against him, and Seti heads to Goshen to see for himself. In Goshen, Moses is overseeing the raising of a stone obelisk with the overseer Baca, who is played by the just fantastic Vincent Price.
That drop puts too much strain on the stone. We need more sand. If the stone cracks, you may crack with it.
I love how some actors will just get lost in their roles and utterly and completely transform, and Baca is just Egyptian Vincent Price. Like, the man is too iconic. Nothing can mask his Vincent Priceness. I guess it does feel weird to pick on Vincent Price for playing Vincent Price and everything when this movie stars Charlton Heston.
Ready, blue signal. Blue pennant.
What the? Oh god, they're trying to get my attention. Okay, he's waving a blue flag. I guess I'll wave my blue flag back at him? Okay, he seemed to like that. What? Oh my god, what is this? He's waving a slightly different shade of blue flag? What the hell does that mean? I don't know. I don't know what this means. Does he... Oh my god. Red? Oh gosh, hold on, red. Guys, shouldn't red mean stop? So the raising of the obelisk goes off without a hitch, and Seti is so pleased with Moses that he decrees that Moses shall be the next pharaoh and Ramses will get nothing. Nefertiti is happy that she will marry Moses instead of Ramses, but the withered old crone Memnet tells her that Moses is the son of Hebrew slaves and shows her the cloth that Moses was swaddled in. And Nefertiti then murders Memnet by tossing her over the balcony to keep her quiet. And just then Moses shows up to her bedchamber.
You will be king of Egypt, and I will be your footstool.
Come on, Nefertiti, have a little self-respect here. You just murdered someone in cold blood. You should be brimming with confidence right now. Moses should be your footstool. A servant comes to tell them that Memnet is dead, and all Nefertiti has to do is feign shock, and this will all blow over.
We will not lose you. Nothing in the world can change that. Neither Ramses' princely plots nor Memnet's evil lies.
Okay, not what I would have gone with. Kinda gives you motive, and they brush right past that until he notices the Hebrew cloth on the floor. Okay. It's odd to have that, but just say you don't know how it got there.
Memnet may have dropped it.
There you go. All the explanation needed.
Memnet was not Hebrew. Why would she bring this here?
Oh, Moses, why do you question me? Why do you care? Yes, I killed her.
Nefertiti! I don't even think Moses suspected that you killed her.
What has this cloth to do with me?
A child was wrapped in it. Pythia took him from the river.
Who was this child?
Memnet is dead. No one need know who you are.
Who was the child?
Moses, how are you still not getting this? So Moses goes to confront his mother, and now seriously, all Moses has is Memnet's story and a piece of cloth. He doesn't even really seem to want to believe this. He just wants someone to tell him it's not true, so this should be a pretty easy denial.
Word of your mother against a piece of cloth found by Memnet?
How did you know it was Memnet?
Oh, good gravy. Look, Moses isn't Sherlock Holmes. These are all unforced errors by these women. Bithia then races to see Yoshebel and tells her to leave town.
I gave him love. Was it your hand that dried his tears?
No, because your dad was gonna murder him as a baby. Bithia tells Yoshebel that her and her family will be free from slavery if she just keeps her secret, but Moses followed Bithia there and heard the whole story. And Moses meets his mother and his sister Miriam and his brother Aaron. Oh, hey, Moses. I know they call me Aaron, but I like to go by Chad. I can show you some really cool skateboard tricks if you want me to.
I am your brother, Moses.
No, get ready to leave. Hurry.
Before Moses figures it out? Give him a little credit, Bithia. I think he's there. But Moses believes in nature over nurture and doesn't think that he would have been any different if he was raised a slave, and decides to stay to find out who he truly is.
Put back your things. You are not leaving.
Oh, that's awesome, because I have a huge collection of snare drums, and it was going to be a real pain to have to pack it all up. And now I'm so stoked because I don't have to. It's awesome. I get a brother. I don't have to move. Oh, shoot. But, Mom, weird question. Am I going to have to share a room with Moses? Because I have, all my blacklight posters up all over the walls, and I don't even know if he likes blacklight. Not now, Chad. So Moses decides to live as a slave to better understand their plight, and he meets Lilia, who is being harassed by Baca.
What beauty can my lord find in these mud pits?
The lotus flower blooms in the Nile's grey mud.
The darkest mud clogs the heart of even the most savage beast. But from the thick clay a dark beast from the underworld springs forth, and is taken aback by the unrelenting beauty he sees before him. What gothic horrors preceded this moment melt away at the vision of the desert flower that has squashed these nightmares from memory. Cut. Vincent... What? Baca demands that Lilia be his house slave, and an older slave stands up to the guards and gets killed, and Moses comforts him as he dies.
You! Take his place.
So, do they not know that Moses is the prince of Egypt? Like, is Moses doing that thing where you go deep undercover as a prisoner, but only like 2 people know about it? And then your enemies find out and kill those 2 people, and now you're stuck there with nobody knowing that you're actually an undercover cop? Actually, that's pretty good. What are the best movies where the main character has to go undercover in a prison, but none of the guards are aware of who they truly are? Nefertiti comes by and pulls Moses out of there to try to get him to stop his foolishness. But Moses says that he still has work to do to help the slaves. At Baca's house, Joshua sets a fire, and in the commotion, he frees Lilia, and he and Baca put their stage combat training to good use.
Will you, Stonecutter?
Baca strings up Joshua and proceeds to whip him when Moses shows up and kills Baca. Oh, but alas, has death's dark hand found purchase upon my throat. My eyes gaze upon the Dark Lord's icy stare, and I know now what true pain is. The suffering I have wrought shall be visited upon me tenfold. My soul creeps down into the depths of the underworld, hoping to pass my final judgment and enter the field of reeds.
I am Hebrew.
Oh, the pain! Joshua immediately recognizes that Moses must be the savior that was sent by God, but the evil Dathan overhears and scurries his little punk ass right back to Ramses and tattles like a little rat bitch. At Seti's Jubilee, Ramses presents Moses to him in chains and tells him that he is the Hebrew-born leader of the slaves. Moses tells Seti that he is not the savior of the slaves, but if he could, he would free them. So Seti decrees that Ramses shall be the next pharaoh and will wed Nefertiti, and he sentences Moses to death. Ramses banishes Moses to wander the desert, and after several days, Moses makes his way to the well of Midian and defends the 7 sisters from an attack by the Amalekites. And they are the 7 horniest sisters in all of Egypt, and they're led by the oldest sister, Sephora, and they want to introduce Moses to their father.
Our father's Jethro.
Jethro? I would not have guessed that the name Jethro was in the Bible. I would have thought that it only went as far back as like 1960s Alabama. That's like finding out that Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden with a dude named Bryce. Jethro offers to let Moses stay with them, and Sephora tells him that God's temple is on top of Mount Sinai and that no man has ever set foot upon it. And back in Egypt, Seti has just died. And now I can't help but think that if Moses would have just waited a few weeks, he could have just freed the slaves when he was the pharaoh. Like, that seems like that would have been the easiest solution. Many years pass, and Moses has married Sephora, and they have a son together, and one day Joshua stumbles upon their hut and tells Moses that he must save their people from Ramses. And so Moses climbs Mount Sinai to talk to God, and comes upon the burning bush. Excuse me, are you the burning bush? Excuse me, are you the burning bush? God begins speaking to Moses and tells him that Moses must lead the people out of bondage. And after Moses brings them to Mount Sinai, God will tell them his laws.
They will ask, what is his name, and how shall I answer them?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, how about Dirk? Too bad Chad is taken. That name is so badass. But it would just look like I was copying your brother.
So Moses comes down from the mountain looking like he has aged several years, and he tells them that he's going to Egypt to save his people. As punishment for Moses' insolence, Ramses tells him that the slaves will no longer be provided straw to make bricks, but they must maintain the same level of brick-making output, and the Hebrew slaves are pissed. So Moses and Aaron have to ramp things up a bit.
Obey the Lord, or he will raise his hand against the waters of the river.
Whoa, Chad. Is everything all right? Why the hostility? I'm sorry, Ramrod. It's not you. Moses then has Aaron turn the river to blood. Oh my God, I'm sorry. That was only supposed to make a small patch of blood. Oh, good God of Abraham, what have I done now? Oh man, why do I mess everything up? Stupid Chad, stupid. And God then bombards Egypt with even more plagues, including raining, burning hail. But Ramses still won't release his people. Like, does God know that his people still live here? And also have to deal with the blood river and the ice fire? Ramses' advisors beg him to release the slaves, but he still refuses. He then declares that the firstborn of every Hebrew shall be put to death, starting with Moses' son. And Nefertiti goes to warn Sephora. But in retaliation for Ramses defying God, God declares that the firstborn of Egypt shall die instead, beginning with Ramses' son. Every story about God from the Old Testament is just like the last few minutes of every mob movie ever. And so our hero sits and calmly eats dinner while death and destruction pass through the streets of Egypt.
They are my people.
All are God's people.
Even the ones being boiled from the inside by some unseen force are God's people, and they are the luckiest of all. God then drives the point home by killing Ramses' firstborn son like any good mafia don would do. And Ramses finally relents and sets Moses' people free. So the day has finally come and the Israelites are free from slavery, and Moses leads them into the desert. Moses, slow down, buddy. We're carrying all of earthly possessions. Having a hard time keeping up with you here. Again, appreciate everything you've done. If you could just slow down a bit. Nefertiti tells Ramses that she wants Moses dead, and Ramses decides that he wants revenge and sends his people after Moses. And also, Nefertiti is painted as the villain right here, but she only ever tried to help Moses, and all she got out of it was a dead son. Moses and his people are trapped with their backs to the sea, and Dathan is leading a revolt against Moses, even after God creates a pillar of fire to stop Ramses' men. You know, Nathaniel has been the slick opportunist this whole time, always backing the winning horse, but one afternoon in the desert heat has just turned his brain to mush. And then we get the scene that most likely made the people who saw it in theaters shit their pressed slacks. And I mean, with good reason, it still looks pretty damn impressive today. And so Moses sends his people across the sea, and God puts out the fire, and Ramses again leads his men after Moses, even after everything that he's seen God do. I wouldn't even mess with a street magician doing close-up magic. You just know that dude could easily steal your wallet and make you look like a fool in front of your girlfriend. Rotten hell, Corvo the trickster! And Moses and his people make it across, and Pharaoh and his men are almost to them when... That is sick as hell. That is kid burning ants with a magnifying glass level. They travel to Mount Sinai, and Moses ascends the mountain with Joshua to receive God's law, but he's gone for 40 days, and in that time Dathan leads a revolt, and he easily dupes Aaron into making a golden calf to worship. And on Mount Sinai, God finally speaks to Moses, and begins to transcribe the 10 Commandments onto the stone tablets.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
And number 10, no bare feet.
And so down below, the people create their golden idol and throw a giant orgy when Moses comes down off the mountain.
There was rioting and drunkenness and works of the flesh, even adultery.
I mean, yes, they're committing adultery, but you just wrote down that law. They didn't even know it.
There is a noise of war in the camp.
It is not the noise of war. It is the noise of song and revelry.
Yeah, they're real bastards. But again, in all fairness, they didn't know the rules yet. God took forever to write down 10 things. I gotta say, they've been in slavery for 400 years, and they're gonna be killed for having a party?
You are not worthy to receive these 10 commandments.
Oh shit, I can't go back to jail. And like, okay, Dathan and the people that were gonna sacrifice Lilia, they suck ass, but everyone else is just letting off steam.
Those who will not live by the law shall die by the law.
Moses! Holy hell, they don't know the laws. You haven't told them yet. So God destroys the people who unknowingly went against his rules, and the people who believed in God went on to live in comfort and peace for the rest of their days. I'm just kidding. God made them wander the desert for 40 freaking years until the generation that wronged him died off. Like, he punished babies. A baby was born and spent his first 40 years wandering the desert because his dad was a hornball. And so after just a lifetime of hell, they finally reached the promised land. But after everything that Moses went through, we learn that Moses is not allowed by God to enter the promised land because he disobeyed the Lord. Now, we are not shown this scene, but thinking back to my time at Catholic grade school, basically what happened was that near the end of their 40-year exodus in the desert, they reached the desert of Zin and found there was no water, and everyone was dying of thirst and getting restless, and God told Moses to speak to the rock and water would come forth. Moses was a bit cranky at this point, and in a bit of frustration, he struck the rock with his staff, and then the water began to flow. That's it. This dude upended his entire life to help God's people, and because he hit a rock, he can't enter the promised land. Say what you will about the Old Testament God, dude knew how to hold a grudge. Moses is doomed to wander alone for what's left of his life. And I'm sorry, but if I'm hearing this story for the first time, I'm thinking that God is the villain. Like he's some sort of even more cruel wishmaster.